Hi guys, Aaron Dorr here from AaronDorr.com. One of the privileges and the highest joys that you and I can have as grassroots activists is to confront politicians to their face, preferably in their district, in front of their friends, preferably eating their food at a great big public fundraiser. We call it open mic night for the friends I work with in grassroots politics. And if you have an incumbent politician, preferably who's running for office at that very moment, who has an open mic night, open to the public type event where you can ask questions from the floor in front of all of his friends and constituents and donors and family, then I would submit you're more or less honor bound to show up and do your part to advance constitutional freedom. When you do that, though, there's a big rule you have to watch out for, or a mistake you have to watch out for, and that is, you all know what's going on here. You're on his territory. It's not familiar territory. All of his friends are packing the room. And so it's tempting to walk in there and you all line up, you and your 3 or 4 friends, and you sit in that front row and you have your arms crossed across your chest and you're loaded for bear. Maybe your face is not painted, Braveheart blue on one half, but that politician can know in 1 second that guy there is here to ambush me. And so as much as it might be comfortable to walk in there with your friends all in a row, make sure you walk in there using what we call the diamond formation. The diamond formation, as you can see right here on this handy dandy high gloss flyer I made for you, is very simply that. It's a diamond formation. So when you walk into the room, you're not going to walk in as a group. You're not going to walk in, single file and sit side by side. You're going to be staggered all around this room. And that way, when you get up there to ask your first question, if and when you get shut down by this politician, your friends in the back of the room can ask the exact same question again as a follow-up, and so can your third friend, and so on. And that way he can never escape the pressure you're trying to bring to bear on him for his bad votes on your issue during legislative session. It's a lot of fun. My home state of Iowa, of course, is the first in the nation caucus state. So every guy who wants to run, or gal who wants to run for the GOP nomination, has to come through Iowa first to launch their candidacy. A couple years ago when when Senator Graham came out as a candidate in Iowa, he came out there for his debut event. And he does what they all do. They rent a hotel, conference room, a conference center, and they'll pack it with 50 or 60 of their supporters. And of course, it's a presidential campaign. So when we walk in this room, all of the national and international media are lining the wall at the back of the room, all set up for his campaign announcement speech. We walked in there using the diamond formation, my team and I, just like we showed in the diagram here. I was in the very front corner. And so after his initial video was up and it was time for questions from the floor, I began to ask him a series of questions on behalf of the members of the day job that I work for, which is Iowa gun owners. The members of our organization had a lot of questions for Senator Graham because his record on the Second Amendment is more or less abysmal. Everything from supporting Barack Obama's radically anti-gun Supreme Court nominees to sponsoring mental health gun control bills, which would directly impact and harm our nation's veterans, and on it goes. His record demanded some questioning, some scrutiny, and we were there to provide that for him. And so when we did that, we used exactly that, diamond formation. And in this situation, I was not shut down by Senator Graham as I kind of expected, and so we kind of modified on the fly. It was kind of our plan B, if you will. And so as I stood to ask my questions, the guy in the back of the room with our team also stood, and he had a camera going in case things got kind of lively with me and Senator Graham, or with perhaps his staff and myself. At the exact same time, a third member of our team stood up and passed out flyers we prepared in advance, which highlighted all of his anti-gun record and anti-gun nominees and legislation he supported over the last umpteen years in office. And he worked the entire room passing out this flyer to the folks in the room so as to make sure they knew who they were there to support. And most importantly of all, even more important than me talking and confronting Lindsey Graham, as fun as that was the fourth member of our team who stood up and went down to the back of the room where all the national and international media had compiled, and he passed out the same flyer to them. And that was our goal, to make sure the national and international media could see what Lindsey Graham had done, and more importantly, what gun owners in Iowa were there willing to hold him accountable for. So before we even left the building, we had Google alerts and stories that were running all across the national and international media about Senator Graham being hit by gun owners in Iowa over his terrible record on the Second Amendment. But it was all possible because he came in there not in a big group, not sitting side by side, not telegraphing our intentions in advance, but rather we used the diamond formation, and it worked very well. So again, when you do your next event, or when your incumbent is doing his next event and you're there to hold him accountable, don't get shut down before you get started. Use the diamond formation. Thank you very much.